I believe it's just as important to learn from the mistakes of others so we don't repeat them, just as it is to learn from our own mistakes. So let me cover the 7 big mistakes I've witnessed in selling so you don't repeat them. Write these down so you never make these mistakes. Mistake number 1 is don't ask enough questions. Salespeople don't ask enough questions. Now, why is this? Well, there's a few different reasons for this. First reason is they feel they are interrogating the customer, and this can be true. Too many questions can seem uncomfortable and interrogational to the customer. However, you just need some skills and tactics. Second reason is they ask a question like what challenges that person has, and then they get excited when they can provide a solution and go straight into pitch mode way too soon. They didn't gather enough intelligence first. Thirdly, they may just have a lack of skill on what questions to ask and something they need to work on. But lack of questions is a big one. Mistake number 2, don't actively listen. I've heard so many salespeople miss opportunities to connect, sell, build rapport, or close simply because they haven't been actively listening. They've been listening with the intent to reply, not the intent to understand. The salesperson was too busy thinking about themselves and the sale that they did not fully listen with intent to the customer. Mistake number 3, cutting the customer off. Follow straight on from active listening, and you may be saying to yourself, come on Stephen, this is basic stuff. And I really wish I didn't have to mention this one because it is so ridiculously simple to cure. Some salespeople speak over the customer or cut them off as they are finishing their sentence, and on some occasions, the salesperson wasn't even aware they were doing it. Let the customer finish and then reply. Mistake number 4, not understanding what the customer really wants. Now this goes hand in hand with mistake number 1, lack of questions. Lack of questions causes lack of knowing, and that causes the pitch to be weak because you haven't fully understood what they really want. So you can't match exactly what they want with what you can provide. So you start pitching everything you do or provide and hope you get lucky and that something sticks. This is why some salespeople are inconsistent in their results, because they tell too often rather than ask and actively listen. When you ask and actively listen, you can then successfully match what the customer really wants with your product or solution. Mistake number 5, not building enough value. Lower level salespeople don't stack enough value to the pitch. 2 of the best areas I've ever seen doing this is online selling, as in the form of a sales letter, and on the TV shopping channels where they get them stacking the value like crazy. However, a lot of salespeople don't do this in their sales process over the telephone or face-to-face. Stack the value the customer is getting so that it outweighs the cost to purchase. When your value outweighs it and it starts to become a no-brainer, you should more than often get the sale. Mistake number 6, don't pre-close throughout the process. Not pre-closing throughout the process is a huge mistake that a very high percentage of salespeople make. As you go through your sales process, you should be gaining yeses out of the customer or small agreements throughout. Things like, does this sound good so far? Is this the kind of outcome you'll be looking for? So far so good? Are we covering some key areas so far that you're hoping for? Are we along the right lines so far? Mistake number 7, don't ask for the business and don't follow up effectively enough. Now this could have been separated into 2, but I put them together as a lot of the time they go hand in hand because a lot of larger sales aren't made on the first time of asking for the business. And yes, I know, if you're a skillful salesperson, then you, like me, will not believe that these are on the list. However, I am still astounded at how often salespeople do not ask for the business. One example of this I experienced in the past was a telecoms company that I called. As I had just moved office premises and it was the best offer out there that I had received on that day. I told the salesperson on the phone that it all sounded pretty good and then waited in silence. If he had asked for the business, we would have set it up there and then. He never asked. We sat in uncomfortable silence until I suggested that I ring just one more and the salesperson agreed. Incredible! Let me tell you, I called one more and they had an even better deal. This time he asked for the business and guess what? He got it. So always ask for the business and never assume that they won't take it. Ask for it with confidence, even if it's more expensive. The other point here is to follow up tightly. Just like I touched on in mistake number 6, we also need to pre-close the follow-up or the next steps. So make sure you do so and have effective systems in place to simply follow up when you promise to. So these are, in my eyes, the 7 big mistakes that salespeople make. And I'm sure we could add to it, but just eliminating these mistakes, you're already on your way to the top 10% of salespeople within your company.